Well, the Pollington name has always been associated here in Michigan with archery. And last week, Gabe Van Wormer headed up to Marion, Michigan to sit down and talk with one of our archery legends. When it comes to bow hunting in the state of Michigan, few places have as much history in their past as Buckpole Archery in Marion and its owner, Claude Pollington. Claude has been bow hunting for many decades and has many fine whitetails under his belt and lots of great stories to tell. He's been featured in many articles and has met some interesting people along the way, but just last year he entered a new arena of outdoor pursuits and purchased the Oneida Bow Company and moved it to Michigan. Oneida had been building their unique style of bows in New York since 1982 and developed a cult following among the growing sport of archery.
Well, I think the reason, that was there was round wheels back in those days, and the people started getting into the cams. And Bear had built what they called the Delta, and that was the cams were mounted on the risers. And the bow did shoot very good. It was terrible noisy, but I liked that bow. They were trying to get the recurved look, I guess, and it's a very good shooting bow. It got from 82 when they started to 89, it kept building. I think they sold like 30,000 a year, and they kept making it better. I bought it in order to, I had so many customers, that I didn't want to let them down. So I said, well, we'll give it a try. I got lots of kids and grandkids to help do it. And we're straightening it up. We're making them better, trying to get them quieter. The basic design is still there. We are working on new things too.
Since the company was moved to Michigan, Claude has supervised a complete overhaul of the Oneida Bow. Much of the design and testing is now done with computers, and the whole bow has seen changes that benefit the archer. The bow now incorporates a machined aluminum riser and limb pockets to lighten the bow while decreasing the number of parts. The idea behind it is the simpler the better, so the riser-mounted cams that make the bow so unique have also been upgraded and refined to decrease the number of moving parts on the bow. But Oneida still operates on the same general principle as before. If you've never shot one of these bows, they may look a little strange, but the smooth draw is a welcome change for some of the hard cams on the market today.
Some of the differences are pretty obvious to begin with. I mean, the bow really looks a whole lot different than a conventional wheel bow, where the wheels are mounted out on the ends of the limbs, where they have a one-piece limb, and the energy is generated out here on the ends of the limbs, and then the bow is tried to be timed with a set of bus cables that runs the distance between the limb tips and the limb tips, with a cable guard pulling those out of the way to create some clearance for the string. That does a couple of things. When you build a bow that has to have a cable guard on it here, pulling those cables sideways, it actually builds torque into the bow. A couple of the advantages to building a bow this way is obviously the bow was built on center line, all the way down from tip to tip. The Oneida bow, because of the way it's designed, has a very generous valley. In that, it's a very smooth drawing bow. Conversely, because we do store our energy in this geometry here as opposed to out on the ends of the limbs, all of the harmonics are driven basically down the middle of the riser, and they cancel each other out, making a very, very forgiving and very recoil-free bow. It's pretty interesting to see people pick up this bow for the first time and complete the draw cycle. In that, because of the dynamics and the dimensions of the cam and the dynamics of the bow itself, the force draw curve is extremely smooth. That means that if we were to graph the forces of the draw curve, you'll notice that it climbs very gradually and lets off very gradually, creating an extremely smooth draw curve and a very smooth feeling, as opposed to a very harsh draw curve that is going to come up drastically and draw weight immediately and then stay high all the way to the back of the draw curve, and then when you're just at the end of your draw stroke, you hit a very short valley and all of your let-off is accomplished in that last half or 3/4 of an inch.
With all the speed bows and hard cams nowadays, it's hard to find a good smooth drawing bow with little or no hand shock, but I think Claude might just have the recipe. He's put a lot of hard work into the bow and based the improvements on his many years of experience bow hunting. For the loyal Oneida owners, these new bows have just about everything that they had wanted changed for years. These bows are now lighter, faster, stronger, and quieter than they've ever been, and there are more improvements to come.